A Monday night webinar, and the title of tonight's webinar is Look Left to Trade the Right. And as everyone knows that's been to our webinars or our live trading room, everything that we say and do at Viper Trading Systems is for educational purposes only. Futures trading, forex trading, any kind of financial instruments trading involves risk. Therefore, there's always risk of loss. You should only trade discretionary capital, and that is money that you can afford to lose. Nothing said in this webinar, other webinars we have, our live trading room, or anything else with Viper Trading Systems should ever be construed as trading or investment advice. And as always, everyone does trade at their own sole discretion. Any questions on the disclaimer? Paragraph 4, line 3. You want to go over that one there, Lewis? All right. All right, let's go ahead and show a chart, because what we're going to talk about tonight, and I'm going to try to not get so detailed on it that everybody gets lost, because there's a little bit of an art to this, of being able to train your mind to see to the left of a chart and see what's going on. So what I did right now is we're gonna do away with all those trees that make up a forest, and we're gonna just look at the individual trees instead. So this way you'll be able to see a little bit more. To give you an example, if you were looking at this chart right here, now keep in mind this may seem a little basic, and if you're a great trader already, with the Viper systems, it's just kind of brush up time. But this really works, because you see me draw lines on those charts every single day. Charles and I, get those levels between the two of us. We call those levels out. I draw the lines on the charts, since I'm the actual one that has the charts in the room, and we trade. But what you want to train yourself to see is you want to train yourself to see these swings. It's super important to see these swings. Now this happens to be a lightning 2 swings that I've got drawn right here. You could also draw lightning 1. To make it a little easier, I'm going to just go ahead and do the lightning 2 for right now. Now let me ask you a question. If you were up at 3 o'clock in the morning and you saw this happening, what direction is the trend? I mean, it's down, right? And if you look to the left to trade the right, always keep in mind, you don't have an identified swing until it takes out a low. To give an example, like if you were looking at this right here, this is not an identified swing until it takes out this low here and continues heading down, because a lot of times they will double check it, which is what they did here, and then they take it down. Everybody see that? Double checked it and then took it down. So, when you're looking at your charts, looking to the left to trade the right, you're actually looking at these swings across here. All right, and I see this as an identified swing, and this one also. And keep in mind, when your lines are really close together, that's pretty much where you're drawing your resistance area, right? On this particular chart, since we're going down, we're drawing resistance instead of support. But what would it take if you were to see this in real time and you said, you know what? Gary's always teaching, so's Charles, that there's times that these charts change directions too, right? So what are we looking for when a chart changes directions? Anybody? We're looking for it to what? You're stair-stepping down. If I drew this in my mind, I would draw thrust, retrace, right? Kind of skip that one, simply because they're so close together. That's my identified swing, because it took out the lows. Everybody see that? So what would it take to actually change directions if it started stair-stepping up? Okay, see, so far it's still stair-stepping down. Now keep in mind that when they're breaking down and you've got an identified swing to the left, and then it does something like an ABC type move, or maybe even an ABCDE type move, as long as it doesn't take out that swing to the left, you're still heading down. Okay? But once they start taking out that swing to the left, or break like a trend line, very possibly, you could draw a trend line across those tops, and if they started breaking that, you could obviously be changing trends, right? So looking to the left to trade the right's actually a little easier if you just train your mind to see it and kind of block out the prices, or have a second chart up like this, because you'll find that you'll be able to see this a lot easier. Yeah, you'd have to break, to give an example, several people are saying, well, if this was to head up, you'd pretty much have to break that swing right here at least, or maybe even this one. Okay. And if it doesn't, then they'll continue down. This happened to actually break it. So let me ask a quick question here. What's the possibility of what's happening here? Because we just went from stair-stepping down to stair-stepping back up. And could this actually be, a trade setup? It could go either way, because you do have, on your left, you have a high, low, lower high, lower low. But this is an identified swing. Okay, looking to the left to trade the right. This is definitely an identified, swing on the left, and so is this right here. But if they take these out, they're no longer heading down. Okay, you got to be prepared for that. Also, when they break trend lines, could you actually, very possibly, when this breaks this trend line, could you box it in and try to get up to here or maybe to here? Well, you can see it did it. So you've got to be prepared for that type of thing. And you can do this with a little tool we've got called the True Trend. If you want to, you can simply use the True Trend. And if you draw a line on the chart like this, it would actually be red underneath the line and green above it. But you can also see that in your mind if you just draw a line too, because anything above this line is going to be, the opposite direction. Okay, so looking to the left to trade the right. Everybody see where those lines and why those lines are drawn on those charts? Because they become very, very important. Okay. Now, one of the reasons that I'm going to try to teach it more with just the Lightning 2 instead of Lightning 1, I'll show you the difference. Let me just take this off and I'll show you the difference. We'll take Shift off and we'll do Alt. Okay, now that's Lightning 1 right there. Okay, now notice that's a little bit noisier. Okay, so you got to train your mind a little bit more to see this one than you do the other one. Okay, because you get so much consolidation with one range, one strength bars instead of two. Okay, but still you can clearly see you have a high, low, lower high, lower low. So that's an established swing right there, right? And then they don't take it out and they don't take this out, so they're still heading down. So you just simply keep following it. Here's your identified swing over here on a 1. See how they tested it and still took it down? Okay, but you got to be careful with, the Lightning 1 as much, because it does tend to stair step up quicker than like the 2 does. But if you, for instance, if this would have decided to break this resistance here, I would have probably been looking for a long, but not this one here. Just because they broke this, no. You want to really look at, some deeper swings like that. Let's see, Lewis says, let's see here just a second. Higher highs, higher low, break and come back and kiss. Yeah, now one thing now keep in mind, you can always take a break too. You can definitely take a break, because just to give an example, this right here, when this broke this trend line, you can take a break out if it breaks something like that. But keep in mind that you're not going to really get a trend change on the indicators and everything for a little while, because more than likely this was still a red background, or at least, well, it was probably red right through here. It would have almost had to been. Okay. But let's take a look at it and just see. Let's look at the actual chart. Bear with me a second. This is gold. And what we're going to do is we're going to look at gold and see if you draw on your charts. Let's go ahead and draw on the chart again, though, with our Lightning 2. See what we're looking at here? Notice how you're stair-stepping down, stair-stepping down. When did they quit stair-stepping down? When they took out that swing. And I always look to the left to trade the right. And if I see another swing like this, I draw it again. Okay, because if they're close together, we're talking about pretty small charts. Okay, so if they break that to the upside, they could easily, go up in this particular chart, right? That's why we would box it. Okay, and it turns out that actually did go up a little bit. See, when you boxed it and it went up, That's what we do in that room all the time. You know, rather than getting faked out. Now, you could have boxed it, obviously, to take it to the short side, too. You would do that. But here's what I do in real time. I look to the left to trade the right. So I see support right here. If I've got these bars here, okay, and then I see resistance like right here, and I see resistance right here. So if they break this to the upside, I'd probably be looking for a long, and if they break this to the downside, I'd probably be looking for a short. Okay, and see, that didn't happen to break that swing to the left, and you did break the one to the upside. Let's see, do you go to the left of the chart first and break it down before you trade? Well, until a person trains their mind to see this, you'll want to actually, and I would recommend until you can really see it, I would do it with Lightning 2, simply because this is a lot noisier. Let me show you Lightning 2. We'll get rid of Lightning 1. We'll just put Lightning 2 on. See how much cleaner that is, where you can actually see, you know, a little bit more what's going on. Now, this is definitely starting to head to an uptrend, though, isn't it? See there? Everybody see how you could see that in real time? Because even though this chart is done, you know, afterwards, because I've got to teach a webinar, not actually trade like we do in the morning, but you know, in that room each and every day, we draw on our charts and we see these trades in real time and we call them. Now, what if you would have said, you know what, at the time, this is what it looked like, so you boxed it like this. Now, I always look to the left to trade the right, though, and I quickly see a swing right across here. So I would want to break that before I headed down. Now, sometimes it'll get you in later if it happens to push it, okay? But it'll also keep you from getting wicked in, you know, if you, for instance, drew your box like this and it got you in, see? So you want to be careful with that. You know, always look at your swings on the left and our indicators too, obviously, because our indicator, you were starting to see that this was definitely heading to the upside when it took out this swing. Let's see. Craig says, can you explain your term, they didn't check that price? I know you mean area, but can you please explain it to me in an example? Sure, Craig. Basically, what we're talking about is, and I'll show you on a chart with 4 range bars because it's easier to show it, but when you're looking at a chart, you're actually looking to see where they've checked. You know, for instance, like right here, if you were looking at this chart, you're seeing just as what we're doing right now. So you see a high, a low, lower high, and you don't know this is a swing until it takes it out, takes out the swing on the left. But then what they normally do is they check that price. And if they haven't checked that price, you want to be careful just jumping in, simply because if they haven't checked the price, they're more than likely going to go check it. Okay? And then see, they end up going ahead and breaking down. See how they check that price again right there? And then they break down, okay? And then, of course, when they break these swings, they'll actually head up even, okay? Everybody see what I'm talking about here, though? Let's just say if you just look as far left as right here even, you can clearly see this is heading down, all right? Even here, because you look on the left, you see that they don't take out this swing. You got a lower high. In the room, we're always talking about this. You know, I'm saying, okay, if we get a lower high than 15.15, we're still heading down, right? Even right now on this chart, looking to the left to trade the right, you can see that if we don't take out 15.15, we are not heading upward in any way, shape, or form. That's a high, that's a low, and you need a lower high to continue in a downtrend, okay? Now, they will, you know, do these little moves to where you have to, you know, see that they'll try to get people. You know, if you boxed it real tight, to give an example, and you want to go against the trend, you're going to get faked a lot. But if you look to the left instead of what's going on at the time, you know, like let's say, for instance, you saw this and you said, okay, there's resistance here, and they don't take out the bottom, so we're getting a higher low. Do you take that long right there? No. No, because you got to look to the left to trade the right. Until they take out this swing on the left, they are not heading up. Everybody see that? Because when you're trading, you know, you've got to be on the right side of the trade. If you're heading down, for instance, on a chart, and you start getting lower highs, you definitely don't want to, take any longs, even if you draw a trend line or something, unless you're a really good scalper. Yeah, and one thing Lewis is saying too, sometimes it's easy to look into it too much and look to see if it's gone to where lines are drawn and everything. You don't want to draw so many lines that it gets, super confusing to you, because like in the room even, you'll notice that I pretty much draw the lines that they haven't checked yet. For instance, if you would have drawn a line right here at the time, let's say that this broke down. You said, okay, if they come anywhere near this is a red background, this is a magenta midband. Let's say that you got up at 2 o'clock in the morning. Well, you're looking for a retracement in this little sweet spot right here to get short, aren't you? Because you would want it to break support and kiss resistance, and that's usually what they end up doing. And see, they don't always come to it exactly. See how I missed it by 2 ticks? So if you were trading that, see, you might have gotten it like with Object Trader or possibly Sniper. Okay? And if this happened, let's say that you traded this and you said, okay, I'm expecting that it hasn't checked here. Okay? And so if it hits its head there, I'm going to go ahead and short it. Well, it could also check here, looking to the left to trade the right. Okay? But they usually look immediate left first. Okay? And if they don't give you a lower low in the case of a short like they did here, then they'll do something like a double bottom. They'll stair step up, and then they'll check this left mode right here. And that's why so many people get taken out of good trades, is because when they get in a trade, they don't go ahead and give it enough wiggle room that, for instance, if you got in like here when it came and, almost kissed this line, then if it double bottoms and it tries to go up here, why give them back, even 5 or 6 ticks? You don't have to, because this line, if I was shorting here, I would expect it to hold. And if it didn't hold, I'd get out and I'd probably go back in if it kissed this area here instead, and it would be a little bit closer to midband, be more of a midband trade. Okay? So when I talk about protecting your coin, to give an example, you don't know at any given moment what a market's going to do. I mean, you can have all the indicators in the world, but it's all price action. Okay? So I look immediately to the left anytime I'm trading, and I look immediately to the left to the next price. Just simply 2 places. And if you want to draw 3, you can. But if you draw them and they've checked them, like right here, for instance, this has pretty much been checked. See how they went above it and then came back below it? Okay. Now, would they check this one again? Very possibly, but you've already drawn your line, so if they broke down, they more than likely won't. Then they haven't checked this left, and they haven't checked this left. Everybody see that? Because the whole idea of trading with 4-range charts is the lightning, the zigzagging on your charts, continual zigzags. Okay? And you don't get this on time charts. All right? So if you were drawing on your chart right here, let's just look at this. Let's say we've gone up to like, 15, 18 area right here, this little area right here. So where do you think that it more than likely would pull back to? Looking to the left to trade the right. Right here is our price right now. So I look to the left and see the most immediate is right there. All right, so I draw a line. I look left and see if there's another swing close in price immediately to the left, and there is, and it's right there. See it? Now you got another one here that's more immediate left than that, but keep in mind, when they're stair stepping up, you can't go below this one. Everybody see that? Because, for instance, if this is going to continue heading up, they cannot take out this swing. Because what's the definition of an uptrend? Thrust, retrace, thrust, retrace, thrust, retrace. It has to hold this swing. Okay, so if you have an area of a swing that has to hold, at least if it's going to break micro, now it could break this obviously and even come down, but what I'm saying is to continue the micro trend, it has to hold it. So when I draw on my charts, I don't draw lower than this one, because for instance, if I drew down here, let's say that it hadn't checked on top of here, it would have to break that swing to do so. And then I'm no longer heading up on my this thrust, retrace, thrust, retrace, thrust, retrace. That's an identified swing. Okay. So when I draw it, I've got this basically drawn like this, and more than likely we're going to get a trade somewhere in this area right here. Let's see if we do. I'll just change this to like white or something so we can see it. Now we may already have it on the other chart. Let's just see, 1516.60 to 1516.80. You can't go any lower than this right here. This could still be a sweet spot. Look to the left to trade the right. I don't see another one that wouldn't take this one out. So I'm going to say more than likely right in this box and no more than on top of like in here. Still with a higher low, in other words. So I can't take this out. I'm going to have to at least bounce in this area or even this area here because we drew looking to the left to trade the right. Okay? So let's see what it actually did. I've got the boxes drawn. I'm going to just change this template instead to where it's got prices on it. And we'll see what it did. See, there's our little boxes. Now look where predictor's saying that it could possibly hit its head. See right here? Okay, and I'm saying looking to the left to trade the right. You know, we drew our lines, didn't we? See, we drew those on lightning. So I'm thinking this little sweet spot here. I do see another swing right here that we didn't see with lightning, so I will draw it also. Looking to the left to trade the right. See the little thrust, retrace, kind of stair-stepping. You know, so I'll draw it right there. So I'll say possibly like right here. Let's see if we're right on one of those boxes. Now keep in mind, if it just craters, we're not going to take the trade anyway. It's got to, you know, give us what we're wanting to look for. Let's see what it does. You got to get a retrace though. Okay, it's coming down into our little box. Our little box is already drawn. There it is right there. It's coming into it. Box it. See if that actually gives us a profit. Stops just right under here. And there you go. You got a scalp. Everybody see how to do that? Now, keep in mind that even though this is already transpired and everything, okay, because obviously this is on market replay, that's how you diagnose your chart though. That's exactly how that's done in the room each and every day. Okay, you know, and basically it's kind of like Colonel Sanders giving away his recipe, so to speak, but we're not about that. We're about teaching people to make money in trading every single day of their lives if they can do it. And you can do this if you just simply draw on your charts. Let me see if I missed any questions. Let's see, Aaron is asking, do you most often use region box, take trade, or sniper when it kisses the line? Well, keep in mind that when we re-engineered the region the way we did where you can move it in real time, it is sniper. You can use it just like sniper. Let's see, Lewis is asking, so you keep looking left until you see. Yeah, well, what you want to do, for instance, you know, when this broke this resistance right here, it broke this trend line, you know, we were looking to box it either way, right? But we looked to the left, we boxed it, it never went short, and it did go long. But if you even missed this trade, see how you could get in it again by me drawing on my charts? That's just a pretty cool way to do it. Let's see if it works again. Y'all want to do it? Let's see if it works again. All right. Let's go back to our, well, we're going to need a black chart. So let's go ahead and do another black chart. Bear with me a second. remember I changed that one away from being a black chart, so I'm going to put another one as one of my webinar charts. Okay, so let's see here. Let's draw some lines on our charts. Let's draw lightning 2. From here is fine. Not much action right there. That's all we got right now. I'll go ahead and draw it from here even. All right, that's our lightning 2. Okay, so we're obviously heading up, right? We're obviously heading up. Okay, so let's see if we can get a little thrust. And what about a pullback? What do you think? Anybody? Well, let's look and see. If they hold what we call micro, low, high, higher, low, higher, high, that's definitely an identified swing, right? Okay, looking to the left to trade the right, I see a swing over here. See it? Like so. And I see a swing here, but guess what? You don't draw that one because why? Because it would be breaking the micro, okay? Because we're looking at very possibly a strong uptrend that should hold micro, right? So let's see if we don't get this right by looking to the left to trade the right. It shouldn't come down this low, so I'm expecting it to basically stay something like that even. All right, so we can't go any lower than here. They do have a high, low, lower, high, lower, low. So basically, you know, kind of choppy sideways, but it's still respecting the left side. All right, so let's see. We won't trade this one at all, but let's just see if it does what we want it to do. Pretty much bounced off the top of our box, but you know, you would have had to box it in. Let's see what it looked like in real time on your 4-range bars. But basically, you've got what we call a yellow bar probe setting up right there, don't you? Let's see where it came into my box. Just 1 second. Let's see here. Now see what you got? You got this low, and see how that's a higher low right there? So could you actually box this little puppy like right in through this area right here? And you'll see that on your chart if you look at it. See it right there? That's a mid-band trade. Okay? That is a mid-band trade. Now, let's look to the left to trade the right with what it's doing right this very second. Let's get rid of all lines on the chart. Let's look to the left to trade the right. All right, immediately left, we got this, but they've already taken it out as we're speaking. They're taking it out a little bit. So I draw again down. All right. And I look to the left even on my little micro moves, and that's actually a little swing area, but the bodies of the candles are right here. So I draw it like so. Okay, so now I see support here, like so, and let's look to the left just to make sure. You do have another swing right here. Immediate price is pretty important, by the way. Anytime you're looking to the left to trade the right, I look immediate, but I also look just to see if there's another area they haven't checked yet. So I would say more than likely you're going to do something like this. You're going to actually come down into this area right here, like so, or you're going to come on top of this area right here, like so. And this would be a little sweet area that I'd be looking for a trade. Okay, let's see if either one of those works. That's close to a phantom trade, you're right. People are saying that's getting close to a phantom. Well, if it turns the background, it will be a phantom. It did turn the background, see it? So this is a phantom trade. So I'm going to box it in right there, and we'll see if we can get a trade. It's coming right to where we want it. Okay? And let's box it. We'll get rid of this one. We'll box it. Box it. There's resistance over there to the left. If it breaks that, we're in long. Let's see if it does. Came back and tested it. but that's a long trade. See it? See how it held? See how you can draw on your charts continually with these swings? You're going to be amazed at how good you can do this. Let's see, Aaron's saying, once Lightning 2 or 3 is started on a black chart, does it auto draw if you leave it on as a guide? Yes, it does. Yes. Now keep in mind that this doesn't draw right away. Okay, like this is your Lightning 3 right down here. This did not draw before I drew that line. But this one had, and so had this one. Okay, so if you draw on your charts, now keep in mind what I'm teaching you tonight doesn't supersede the fact that we love mid-band trades. And keep in mind, mid-band trades are on longs are right in this area, and on shorts are right in this area, like so. Okay, mid-band and down, and mid-band and up. And they can go lower even, like, for instance, right here, this is a little bit lower than mid-band, but it still turned out to be a great trade because we diagnosed our charts correctly. Everybody see that? Now, always remember too, though, that you got to understand that, because we trade such small charts, you got to know when this is going to change directions, if it's going to change too, okay? Because to give you an example, let's say that you traded this, and let's say you got long where I called it there at that box. Let's see where it went. That's beautiful. See how it took out the top? There's another trade right there. By the way, this one here that came down, does anybody see why you could have taken this trade if you drew on your chart? Let's say that you just saw this and you said, okay, I didn't catch that, so I'm going to try to check the retrace on it. So draw on your chart, immediately left, look to the left again, there's another one, and look to the left again, and there is another one, but it's actually breaking my little swing here. Everybody see that? So would I draw this one? Well, you could, because it's really close to it. So let's just leave it too. And let's see where this trade bounces. See there? See, when you draw on your charts, you'll be amazed at how well they'll bounce. And you're just going to see the trade a lot easier. It just really boils down to you absolutely see the trade easier. Okay? Now, let's look to the left to trade the right again. We opened the room at 7:55. Let's see, if you weren't in a trade, if you could draw it on this chart and tell me where the next trade is. All right, if, this is a big if they don't take out this top, okay, let's look to the left and see where we might be able to get in a trade, okay? We're going to try that. All right, so I'm going to draw on my charts. Look to the left. You know you can't get way down in here, so none of these lines are going to count because they just made, this is a high, this is a low, this is a lower high, but this swing is identified right here. See it? See that one right there? So if they're going to head up, high, low, higher, high, they can't take that out. And if they're going to head up and take this out, they can't take this out, but they could take it out a little bit and do like an ABC, but they can't take this out. Everybody see that? Thrust, retrace, thrust. If you don't see it, I'll draw it. See your thrust. Got your little retrace. And you got your thrust again. All right, everybody see that? It's down a little bit further, right there. All right, so they can't take that out if they're going to head up, because looking on the left to trade the right, that's a low, that's a high, that's higher low, higher high. This is not an identified swing yet, but if they take out this top at any time, it will be identified. Everybody see what I'm talking about here? So let's look to the left to trade the right and see if we could somehow get into a trade just simply by drawing on our charts. And I'll use Object Trader and take a shot at one. We'll just do a replay on it. But we've already drawn on our chart, right? So I'm seeing that they've already checked this swing on the left. See it right there? They haven't checked this one right here. Look to the left again, and there's nothing for them to check. Everybody see that? Except right here, but they just checked that a few minutes ago. But let's go ahead and draw it too. Right there. So here's my little sweet spot for a trade. Either here or here. Okay? But remember, they cannot take this one out right here. All right, let's see if one of those actually works. See what they do? Checked it beautifully. Even gave you 2 opportunities to get it even. By the way, that's when we opened the room up right here. All right. Now, one thing I want everybody to realize, when you've been going up all night like this since about 3 o'clock in the morning, don't put yourself into that mindset that they're going to continue going up. Okay, because I'm going by memory this morning, but I can tell you that gold broke down and we actually called it. Okay, but where could you take the trade if it decided to break down? I mean, you got to train your mind to see the chart and tell where it could break down. Anybody see it? You want to do your little black chart again? Let's do our little black chart again. Let's just see. Let's get rid of all of this to the left. We don't really need it. We just need right here. And even right here is fine. All right, so everybody see this, even on this chart right here. Lightning 3, if they break this swing right here, and right now even this swing right here, they would really no longer be heading up with lightning 3. Okay? Now, if this breaks up and takes out this swing, even if they break this area, they're no longer heading up. Like so. Okay? And just watch and see. We'll just turn it up. We see it bouncing so far, but if it takes that out, it's no longer heading up. See there? Now, let me ask you a question. When we called this trade in the room this morning, and let's say that you didn't get the trade yet, where does somebody see an opportunity to get it again? Let's see if we can figure it out. We'll go back to our chart, and this is where we're at right now. Notice we broke here, but this was actually a little phantom so far. Remember, I even called this in the room this morning. Line 1 phantom. Where did it go to? It kissed resistance. And what did we say when it kissed resistance? That it could roll over? But this is not the area that you take the short yet. You're actually looking for a phantom type trade, but you do have to realize when they break these lightning 3s, just like when they did it over here to the left side of the chart, right down here, when they start breaking these swings to the left, they're going to change directions. And the same way over here, you know, of course you could clearly see that they break what we call micro to begin with. You can even short these, but keep in mind that if you ever do that, you're really going against the trend until they take these lightnings out. Okay? So does anybody see where you can draw on your chart very possibly to get a trade on this chart? All right, let's just see what happened, and we'll draw on our chart as it's happening. All right, I see support right here. I see support right here. All right. Now, if they break this area here and they decide that they're no longer heading up, then where do you think they would kiss for a good trade short? Let's see. Sorry, Gary, can you read my whole above question? It's really important. Which one is it, Lewis? To eliminate messy charts that confuse you, you're basically seeing if you're in a potential long or short. Yeah, what you want to do first off, you've got to basically know which direction you're really looking for. To give an example, like down here, when did we know that this was very possibly going to be changing trends? See how it's stair-stepping, stair-stepping, stair-stepping down, but stair-stepping down, and you draw your lines on your charts, and even though our background and stuff won't change yet, you know, this is those areas that we draw in the room that we say take your coin, okay? But you can clearly see that it also thrust up and it pulled back and kissed this area and even held on top of it. So could a person box this in? Yes. You know, because that's what you're looking for. You're looking for it to break resistance, pull back and kiss it as support. And see, it just barely just wicked it and then it took off. Okay. But let's look on this side of the chart now. Let's see what's going on. Now, let's say that you weren't in a trade at all yet. Where do you think this will more than likely kiss? Anybody? Let's go back to our little black chart and see if we can figure it out. I'm going to go ahead and take lightning 2 and change it from up here. Just up here. We don't need it all over. All right, draw your lines on your chart. Draw your lines on your chart. And draw your line on your chart here because that's an identified swing. So right now you know for a fact that if they're going to head down, they cannot take out that swing right there. Okay, because see, it's stair stepping down, right? Thrust, retrace, thrust. Because they'll usually do a thrust, ABC, thrust again. Okay, so that's an identified swing, and so is this, but I usually go by this one and this one. Okay, and if they're real close together, I'll go by the one that's the higher price on a short and vice versa on a long. But you can clearly see on this chart, though, that if this was to retrace, you're more than likely going to get your trade right in that area right there. Everybody see that? Because they haven't checked it yet. Let's see. Let's draw it with lightning 1. Hopefully I can. Yeah, there we go. Let's just play it and see what it does. I'll go kind of fast. Everybody see that? So let me ask you a question. Could you box this in and take that trade? And the answer is yes. Notice that we drew here and here because at the time that's where our left was, but not on lightning 1. See, when we drew lightning 2, that's one reason that I like to see them both, because see, we drew a line here and here because that's what we saw. But notice how lightning 1 had one here also. So you would draw your line right there also. And see, it did kiss it perfectly. Everybody see that? That's what they do, is they kiss these lightning swings, resistance and support. And you've got to always look to the left to trade the right. Now, if I was using lightning 2, I would still get in that trade, by the way. You know, for instance, when it kissed this area here and I had my box drawn and it happened to go out of it, back down, I would short that in a heartbeat. Okay? Now, let's see if everybody else can, by what I've taught so far, we've just got 17 minutes left. Because this next trade was called absolutely in the room, in real time, and we'll see if everybody can get it. Whoop, won't get it like that, will you? Bear with me a second. We'll just draw it again. All right. All right, we're in a downtrend right now. Let's draw it with lightning 2 also, just for the fun of it. Let's see. Yeah, that's good. All right, so let's see if everybody can get the next trade that was called in the room. About 8:30 when we opened the room, we had a nice trade set up. Can anybody see where it could be on this chart? Anybody at all? What says the team? All right, let's draw it and see if we can figure it out. All right, let's see here. It's already thrust down. It came back to this 1520 area, rolled down. So we know we can't take this out if we're going to head down, right? High, low, lower, high, lower, low, ABC, okay? So we know they can't take out 1519.90, right? All right, so immediately we look to the left and we say, okay, we got a swing here. That's immediate. And then we got a swing here. This is also immediate. That's also on top of that one, so that kind of takes care of 2 swings. So guess what? Where's your trade? Anybody? Can't take this out. Your trade's right here. Right there. Does everybody see why that's there? Let's draw it on this one too then, while it's looking at this. Let's look to the left to trade the right. We got a swing right here. We know they can't take that out, right? All right, look to the left. You see a swing right here. That's your little sweet spot. They can't take this out right here. Predictor's saying actually right in here, that would still be a lower high. So right in this little sweet spot right here is an area that you'd be looking for a short. Okay. Now remember what this actually did in the room, and we were watching for a mid-band trade, because they can take this out, what we call micro. See your ABC? This is what we call your secondary swing right here. Okay. Now they can't take this out if they're going to stay with the trend to the downside. They can take this one out though and still head to the downside again. Okay. And keep in mind that when these predictors show up on these charts too, and you look to the left to trade the right, like for instance, I've got a little box drawn here, but I also see this swing right here that they have not checked yet. See it? They checked above it. So they may check it. Everybody see that? We had this drawn in the room this morning looking for a little trade on gold. If anybody remembers this trade. And it never panned out. This one came within 3 ticks, remember, of our box. So guess what? We look again. All right, see how that one kissed predictor perfectly? Now draw on your charts again. All right, let's see if we can do it. That was a perfect, like a what we call a minimum criteria trade. But let's draw on our charts again. Let's see where they haven't checked. They have not checked there. They have not checked here. Like so. And we don't really think they should take out this swing right here. Okay, because you have a high, low, lower, high, lower, low. So this is another little sweet spot for a trade, either in this area here at mid-band, or looking to the left to trade the right. You got another swing right here, like so, and that would be a little sweet spot for me. Anywhere in this little area that they haven't checked yet. See, they checked this one already. So they really shouldn't check it again. If you get a lower high, you expect it to roll over. And let's see what actually happened here. Everybody see that trade? We called this in the room this morning, just like this was drawn on this chart. Now, are we like, do we have a crystal ball and know things ahead of time? No. We just draw on our charts and we have these prices. Now keep in mind, this was short back here, you know, when this thrust down and kissed this area here and rolled over, or even this area here, because I had a line drawn on the chart at the time. You could have gotten that trade too. Okay. But this little trade right here, what would you do with this trade? Anybody? You just box it in. How would you box it in? Well, looking to the left to trade the right, I see a swing right here. It's already wicked it. I see support right down here. I wouldn't box it that big, so I'm going to box it more like that. And if it takes out that line, I would short it. Usually I even short it when it kisses resistance, so I'd already be short on one. But then I usually do something like this, turn on a bar close and take, you know, something else, and then just put my stop nice and tight just in case I'm wrong. Like so, and put it on exit on close. Would you use the close or the touch function to get in the trade, Ed? Well, when I see a trade on the chart that I draw a line, I try to get into it as close as I possibly can, as long as it's really trending the way I want it to trend. Okay? Let's see, Gary, to see where they checked. To where you're currently on the right, and this process also starts again. That's the whole thing, yeah. You look on the left side of the chart, and then you trade the right side of the chart, but you've got to draw your lines based on the left side of the chart. And you've also got to realize, looking to the left to trade the right, on the left side of the chart, they shouldn't take that out if they're going to head down. See, for instance, they held my line exactly. Matter of fact, it looks to me like it was one tick. Was it one tick under it or the same? It looks like the same. But also keep in mind that when they look at their prices and everything, they're more into the body of the candle. But that was a perfect trade, by the way. All right. But where could you actually protect your coin on this? We forgot to turn bar close on. Where could you protect your coin on this? If you were deciding, for instance, you wanted to go down here and take some coin on this, isn't that where you should take coin, is right at that bottom? Can you show where you put your first stop and then protect the trade? Well, Shibi, on your question, I always look to the left to trade the right, even on my stops. Okay, for instance, like right now, you're not in enough money to put your stop any different than where it's at right now, but I expect it to hit its head at support. I draw my lines on my charts. All right, and then you got to watch it just in case you get any kind of a double bottom at all. All right, and watch and see what happened. See how it kissed our next line that we drew? See there? All right, now let me ask you a quick question. If you were trading this and you said, you know what, I'm up fairly nicely on this trade, it's not really heading down like I want it to, what could you do to protect yourself on this trade? Anybody? Well, you could take one off, right? You know, you could go ahead and take one of your contracts off by just simply clicking buy, and then you could protect your coin just right above that swing. Just in case they go lower, let's see if they did. See, they went a little bit lower. There's a lower high again. And now they're pretty much double bottoming, so I would probably put my stop just above line 2. And see how it just bounced off a double bottom and took you out. Now, is that another trade, by the way? I've got it going too fast to take it, but this was another trade that we called in the room this morning on gold. Anybody remember it? Let's diagnose it, though, and see why it went to where it went, okay? Because that's most important, is so that everybody can see why they're going where they go. Okay, so let's draw on our chart. Let's draw our lightning. I would draw 1. No, we won't. We'll draw 2. Lightning 1 sometimes is just too noisy. All right, so looking to the left to trade the right. All right, let's say this was heading, you know, you'd already gotten your trade, and now you're looking for another one. All right, high, low, lower high, lower low. Cannot take this out if they're going to head down. Okay, so that's your first line you draw. Let me get these out of the way. Okay, now you look to the left to trade the right, and you say, okay, what if they just wick it? Well, you do have a swing right here, just a little higher. That would still be in the area of not taking this out with a close bar anyway. And then look to the left to trade the right. See if there's anything at all, a swing that's lower than this. There's one right here. And what they do, they went up and kissed the line that we drew. See how that works? This just absolutely works continually if you just draw on your charts. Okay, so when we called this trade in the room this morning, when we said, you know, if you got taken out of this trade, box it in again. Now, I don't personally like getting in a trade here, for instance, and letting it go all the way up to here and take me out of my cost when I've already made 25 ticks. So you can take your trade off the table and then go back into it, which is what we did. Okay, so you don't have to let it go all the way back to mid-band. Mid-band trades are okay to me with $5 or possibly even the minis, the micros. But when it comes to giving this much money up with 2 contracts, I don't like it. Because see, from 1680 to 1940, how much is that, anybody? 26 ticks. That would be $520 if you had 2 contracts on. Now, granted, it turned out that it was A-okay and the silly thing just kept going down, but you didn't know that. So could you see that you could absolutely take the profit? You know, for instance, you get a double bottom like this, you say, okay, I've got resistance right here. I've got resistance right here. And if they take this out, maybe you don't want to stay in that trade long, or short, I mean, see, because they're breaking resistance areas. Okay. Now, I think Charles pretty much stayed in this trade that whole time. If he did, if he got in, or no, I think he got in this trade here. This is the trade he stayed in for right here. And truthfully, I don't like that one either. But it's up to the individual. It's your money. Because if you got in this one here, it never took you out. But your final contract or two felt all that heat from that double bottom. I even called that double bottom as it was happening in real time. Said, be careful, we're double bottoming. So could you get out of the trade when it took out this little swing and then get back in it when it kissed a line that you drew exactly on your chart? Absolutely. And that's what we did, or I did. And did this trade actually continually go down? So now let's check something else out. What if you had just been a deer in the headlights and you said, oh my gosh, this is really dropping? Okay, and you're seeing this really dropping in real time. Where would you look to trade this trade? Anybody? Well, you got to get some kind of a retrace, right? Okay, so you're trying to look for like right around mid-band or at least a minimum criteria. If you miss this trade that we called this morning, you really don't want to take it until it comes back at least in this area right here. Okay, so let's see what it did here. Let's just see. Still heading down. So you draw on your charts, right? You got a swing right there they can't take out. Looking to the left to trade the right, you got resistance right there. And you got resistance right there, which is pretty close, about the same thing. Let's see if we can get a trade. Got to get some kind of retrace. Draw it again. Draw it again. Get rid of your lines. Can't take out this swing now. Draw another line right there, just in case. Can't take out this swing right here if they're going to head down, that is. All right, so let's see. And then we look to the left to trade the right. We draw a line right here. This is resistance right there, and that's resistance right here where my blue line's at. So let's see if we can get a trade. I'm saying the little sweet spot is right here. Right in this little area right here. If it goes inside that box at all and rolls out of it, I'm going to take it. A little late, but I got it. Everybody see that? That's what you do right there. You look to the left to trade the right. Now, like I said, though, this is only if this wasn't going to change directions. If this would have taken this little swing out to the left here, you would better get out of that trade. Okay? And to me, if it rolls over right where I draw my lines on my chart, I don't let it go back above it again. Okay? Because if you do, a lot of times you'll end up giving up your coin, and you don't really want to do that. Now, your safest trade is waiting for mid-band type trades, but if you draw on your charts the way we teach, you can take some good trades like that. Okay? Let's draw one more time. And we're almost out of time, but I want everybody to figure out where the next trade is on this chart. Let's see if anybody can do it. I'm going to get rid of the lines, and I'm not going to give you any hints or anything like that. I want everybody to tell me, where are we going to draw our line? Anybody? I won't single you out, I promise. But you should by now already know. I'll go ahead and I'll show you, okay? Low, high, lower, low. If they're going to head down, they can't take that out, right? They can't take it out. They tested that swing right there. See it? I mean, they can test it by more than a tick, but that's a pretty good test right there of that swing to the left. Everybody see that? And you're saying, okay, well, they can't really come up this high if they're going to head down because you need a lower high. So looking to the left to trade the right, let's look. And let's see if there's anything else showing at all. And I see, if we drew this line right here, that's too high, I think. Yep, takes that line out, so that's not going to do it. This one right here at this swing is not going to do it because it takes that line out. and this swing right here, that could do it. Everybody see why? Because it would be a lower high. Everybody see how I'm doing that? Drawing on my chart. Looking to the left to trade the right. So let's see if it gets up. I'm going to say little sweet spot, no higher than here. And I want it to roll right at my line. And I'm going to take it if it gets up there. Now if it goes lower, guess what? We redo it, right? We redo it. Now we've got a high. So you have a high, low, lower, high, lower, low, ABC. So they can't take this out on what we call micro, and they can't take this out and stay with the trend. So let's see if we can get a trade. Looking to the left to trade the right. So we want a lower high than right in through here. Don't want to take this out. That's right now. By the way, this could keep going down because gold headed down pretty good. I think I'm going to miss it. Yeah, I missed it. No, maybe not. Yep, missed it. I'm going to take it anyway. Everybody see that? Drew it on the chart. Now I'm going about 40 times, so we still got it. Everybody see that? It came right into my box. I'm going to protect the trade just in case. Right above here. If it takes that out, we'll go back in it. Took it out a little bit, didn't it? Didn't close though. Now I'm going to protect my trade right there. If it takes this out, they'll continue heading down. Everybody see that? Exactly how to do this? They wicked that area right where we drew our line. They'll do that to you, but they didn't change directions. Okay? By the way, we called that trade in the room too. And I don't remember exactly how far that dropped, but that was a good one too. Let's see. Can you show ABC? Yeah, Lewis, on an ABC, what you're really looking at, see, like for instance, right here, you got your high, your low, your lower high, lower low, but it's the same. Okay? So to me, for them to break this, you know, they're going to actually do like A move, B, lower high, C, take it out. If they take this out, okay, that means that they're trying to break micro. This is your secondary micro because that's part of your A, B, C. Okay, see, this is A, that's B. That's not C because it didn't take that out. So that's A, B, right? And then C is all the way down here. Because when they double like that, this doesn't count. Remember when I've taught the webinars on identified lightning? This is your identified lightning right here because this double bottom, so that's nothing but a little fake hump right there, a little swing. But notice how they held that swing right there, just barely wicked it. Okay, I think this will really help a lot of people out of how to look at their charts and look to the left to trade the right. And just like what we were talking about, does anybody want to see where you can tell when they change trends? We'll just play this for a little bit, and I want to show you something. Because you can draw on your charts ahead of time, and you'll see it. Let me get rid of the lightning. We don't need it. Right now, I'm going to kill this trade. We don't care about that. Does everybody see that if you took out this lightning right now here, you would head up? Okay? That's lightning 3. But what if it heads down further? Well, you'll have to redraw it. So let's see where it happened. Has to take that out to head up, right? So far, let's see if it changes trends at all. Everybody getting a little bit better idea of how to look to the left to trade the right? Helped out a lot, Craig? Good deal. I'm going to show you how to see a trend change too, because they always do it. There's another area that you'd be watching. Anytime they get around that mid band, look to the left to trade the right. got a lightning swing right there. Now you're more than likely going to get one here. What does anybody think? Missed it. Maybe get another. Yeah, I got another chance. See it right there on top of that swing? I'm going to go ahead and take that and just see if it works out. And whoops, I put my stop. I was trying to move my stop where it was at this swing. I couldn't make it in time, so I'll do it again. All right, drew a box. Look to the left to trade the right. Now keep in mind I'm going pretty quick, so let's see here. There's resistance, which it kissed. There's resistance on the left again, right over here to the left. And there's another resistance right here, like so. Let's see if we can get either one of those. Now, if they take you out, by the way, you got to put your stop like under your lightning swings, because we're not gamblers, we're traders. Take it on up underneath that swing, lightning swing. Lightning swing. Double topped. All right, let's draw on it. I'm gonna slow it down. Let's see if we can get the trade. All right, look to the left to trade the right. They double popped it right here. So a lot of times you want to draw two lines here. They checked it once. They haven't checked it twice. There's the other check right there. And then I'm gonna draw one more high, low, higher, high, like a big old ABC. So there's a swing they shouldn't be able to take out if they're going to head up right there. So my little sweet spot is in two places, right here or here. Let's see if we can get it. I'll fast forward it. What do you think? Yep. Everybody see it? See how you can draw in your charts and get these trades like this? Now I would probably tighten this stop, obviously, and move your target. Look to the left to trade the right. You got a swing right across here they're trying to get to if they can. Got another one right over here trying to get to if they can. And look to the left to trade the right. Another swing right here, like so. And let's see if they hit one of those. Since we've only got one contract left, we'll probably take our coin right there. Looks good to me. Naturally bring your stop up with your lightning. Everybody see how to do this? We do this every time in the room. Okay, bring your stop. Bring your stop. And it looks like it might get us. Nope, got our target. Went a little higher even. Pretty cool, huh? This does work, believe me. And our stuff will change in time for you to get some of these great trades. Notice why I went for this trade twice, because they double tapped it. You got to train your eye to see that. If you can draw on your charts, your lines on your charts, they will more than likely test them. And see, that's what they did. They came down and they tested that little area right there. And that's a phantom trade, by the way. And our little indicators and stuff will absolutely grab that trade. Okay? So what does anybody think? You want to box this in, see if it actually heads up or down? That's a phantom right there. It's trying to bounce off support. There's a double tap again. If it takes these out, it's liable to head down. Yeah, they're actually breaking. See there? You could short that little puppy. Put your stop just above the blue line, though. Yep. And you got stopped out. Little scalp, though, wasn't it? That's looking to the left to trade the right, and I think everybody should be able to do this. Now, keep in mind that when you draw on your charts, you got to realize that just because you draw on your charts does not mean that they're going to absolutely for sure hit their head there. You got to be ready for a stop, and if it doesn't do what you think it should do by drawing on your charts, for instance, if I went long down here, like so, on this chart, I wouldn't let them take out this swing, because see, that's a swing that's identified right there. High, low, higher high, barely higher high. So to me, that's not identified. This is pretty much the identified secondary swing at least. And see, we drew our line there, and that's what they checked. Let's see, Sheeby, on your question. For me, most of the time, I keep a really tight stop and lose the run. Well, don't keep it so tight you lose a run, because, for instance, like right here, let's look here. Let's see, you got a swing right here, got a swing right here to the left, you got a swing right here to the left. If this actually breaks this could very easily head down, couldn't it? But what's it doing right this very moment? Well, it's trying to check resistance, which is right here and possibly even here to the left. See it right there? Let's see what it does. I didn't trade this afternoon. Let's see if it kisses that area. Double bottomed. Yeah, see it kiss it? Could you short that if it decides to break that little swing right there? I did that a little early, but it looked to me like it was going to break down, especially with that red background. I'd put my stop pretty tight though on it, just in case. Everybody see why I did that? Because it came up and it kissed my support or my resistance areas. Went a little higher, but looking to the left to trade the right, this works. It works quite well. All right, let's see, Lewis, one more, and I think we'll have to wrap. So if it breaks 15, 11, 10. Well, for instance, on this trade right here, if you weren't even in this trade just yet, does anybody see where more than likely you would probably kiss? Let's see if it does. All right, let's just say we're not a breakout trader, we're a retrace trader. Just kissed my line, and I just missed it. See it? Looking to the left to trade the right. It gave me another opportunity, so I'm going to take it. It's kissing. It's got a double tap there. It's kissing, and it should roll. See, because it broke support and it's kissing it as resistance. Put my stop nice and tight just above the swing and take a trade. Okay? That's the way you look to the left to trade the right. And when you see this happening in real time where they break support and they come back and kiss it as resistance like that, don't be afraid to take the trade, because you'll end up doing pretty well in your trading. And keep in mind in that room, I'm going to call those trades, so's Charles. And when we say box in, to give an example, like gold, I mean, we said time and time again this morning to box this little puppy in. Box in, box in. We said to box in. We said to box in. And we said to box in right before we even closed the room. Okay? So what about 1511? Is that too high in this example? Let me look. Well, keep in mind, this is, when you change to a red background like this, this is a mid-band type kiss trade. So you could actually take this trade pretty much when it took out that trend line right through there, boxing it in. But keep in mind also that at this time of the afternoon, I might not have taken that trade to begin with. But if you look to the left to trade the right, you see support right there, and they're pretty much breaking it. So it's not a bad one to take. Okay, so let's go over some of this in the morning, even as we're trading. And I hope this helped everybody out. Thanks very much for coming. Sorry I ran it about 15 minutes over. And this will be it was recorded and it will be posted. And keep in mind that even though this is after, okay, because, obviously I could tell you exactly what these charts looked like if I wanted to be, fakey on this, but we do this every day in that room, okay? So, you can definitely get nicely green if you train your eye to see phantom and mid-band trades and these kiss type trades. And make sure you're going with the direction of the trend. All right, see you in the morning. Thanks, everybody.